The lights in the underground boxing club blinked and flashed. The walls were old and broken. It smelled really bad inside, like sweat, blood, and spilled beer. Lots of people stood around a big boxing ring. They were yelling loudly. Some were holding money. Others just wanted to see a good fight. This wasn't the kind of place where Jason Statham usually went. He didn't do street fights anymore. He had stopped doing that a long time ago. But tonight was special. Tonight was different. Everyone was talking about a new boxer in town. His name was Jet Viper Rowan. He was young, full of pride, and very, very strong. Jet had beaten every single person who tried to fight him. He didn't just win. He made his opponents feel small. He made them feel weak and embarrassed. The last person Jet fought had 2 broken ribs and felt very sad after the fight. Jet liked hurting people's feelings. He laughed at them when they were down. Jason didn't come to the club to be famous. He didn't want money. He came because he hated bullies. He saw a video on his phone of Jet making fun of an old fighter after knocking him down. That old fighter used to train Jason when he was just a skinny boy. That man had helped Jason become strong. Jason couldn't let it go. He had to do something. That's why he came. When Jason walked toward the ring, the crowd moved out of his way. Nobody said a word. He didn't have loud music or a big team with him. He wore a simple black hoodie. Black gloves hung around his neck. His face looked calm and serious. You could tell he was not here to play. Jet was already inside the ring. He was jumping and smiling. He showed off his perfect white teeth to the crowd. Everyone was cheering for him like he was a rock star. Then he saw Jason climbing into the ring. Jet smiled even bigger and laughed. He grabbed the microphone and said, "Oi, look at this old man." He laughed again and shouted, "I didn't know the retirement home had visiting hours." The crowd laughed with him. Jason didn't say anything. He just rolled his shoulders and stared at Jet. He looked at him the way a lion looks at a noisy little animal. The referee looked small and scared. He gave the rules. No rounds. No points. No rules. Just fight until someone gives up or gets knocked out. Jet stepped close to Jason and said with a big smirk, "Don't blink, Granddad. You'll be kissing the floor real soon." Jason's lips moved, but he didn't smile. It wasn't a joke. It was a warning. The bell rang. Jet ran at Jason right away. He tried to punch Jason really hard with his right hand. It looked like he wanted to knock Jason's head off. But Jason was very fast and very smart. He ducked under the punch, stepped to the side, and gently tapped Jet on the back of the head. It wasn't a real hit. It was like a mosquito bite. The crowd went, "Oh." Jet looked angry. He didn't like being made fun of. He rushed at Jason again, throwing lots of wild punches. Left, right, left. But Jason moved like water, smooth and quick. He didn't even sweat. "Come on, you little punk." Jet yelled, "Fight me." Jason finally threw a real punch. He hit Jet in the ribs with a short, sharp jab. It made a soft thud sound, but Jet felt it. He made a noise and took a step back. Jason didn't chase him. He stood still and waited. He was calm like a tiger ready to strike. Jet came again. This time, one of his punches hit Jason's shoulder a little, but Jason didn't even flinch. Then Jet pulled back his fist and went for a big uppercut. That's when Jason saw the perfect chance. In one fast move, Jason ducked under the punch, twisted his body, and threw a big left hook right into Jet's jaw. Crack. It was so loud, the whole room went quiet. Jet's legs wobbled. He looked dizzy. He had never been hit like that before. His arms waved around. He was trying not to fall. But Jason wasn't finished. He stepped forward and hit Jet with a bunch of quick punches. 1, 2 to the belly. Another hit to the nose. And a big final punch, a right cross. That last punch lifted Jet's feet off the ground. He flew a little in the air before crashing onto the mat like a heavy sack of potatoes. The crowd went crazy. Some screamed. Some just stood there, eyes wide. Jet was on the floor, twitching. He looked like a broken toy. Jason stood over him. He was breathing normally. There wasn't even a scratch on his face. He pulled his hoodie up again, looked at all the people, and said in a quiet but strong voice, "Respect the ring, or get taught some." Then he walked away. He didn't wave. He didn't smile. He just disappeared into the night. Later that night, Jason sat in a quiet pub in East London. It was small and calm. People around him were talking softly. Glasses clinked. Someone laughed in the corner. It was peaceful. That's how Jason liked it. No reporters. No cameras. No fans asking for selfies. He drank his whiskey slowly. It felt warm going down his throat. The fight already felt far away. Just another memory. He didn't care about cheers or trophies. He did what he had to do, for respect. But the world outside wasn't quiet. His phone buzzed again. He didn't pick it up. It buzzed all night. Every time he looked at it, there were more messages. Old friends. Reporters. Even Hollywood people asking if he wanted to make a movie about the fight. Jason didn't like it. It made him feel weird. Meanwhile, Jet Viper Rowan was all over the internet. But not in a good way. Everyone was sharing videos of him getting knocked out. Memes were everywhere. One meme had the words, "Rage quit." Another one showed Jet's shocked face and said, "When reality hits harder than dreams." Jason saw them. He almost felt bad. Almost. Far away, in a dirty gym, Jet sat with his friends. His face was swollen. His cheek was purple and puffy. His jaw looked bad. He had his hands wrapped in tape, and he kept punching a heavy bag again and again. Thud. 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 He was very angry. "I'm not letting it end like that," Jet growled. "He made me look like a fool." Jet's manager, Silas, stood nearby. Silas was small, skinny, and had greasy hair. He looked nervous. He said, "Maybe let it go, Rick. Jason's a killer. He's out of the game, but still dangerous." Jet turned around and stared at Silas with wild eyes. "I don't care if he's the Queen's Guard," Jet said. "Nobody embarrasses me like that. Set it up, Silas. I want a rematch. A real one. Big lights. Big cameras. I want the whole world watching." Silas looked worried, but he nodded slowly. He knew Jet wouldn't take no for an answer. "All right," Silas said. "But be ready, Rick. This time, you're not just fighting a man. You're fighting a legend." Very soon, the news spread like fire. Jet challenges Jason Statham to a rematch. Everyone was talking about it. TV hosts started asking, "Will Jason say yes?" Experts on shows started arguing, should a famous actor be fighting a normal guy? Fight promoters were smiling. They saw money in every headline. Back at the pub, Jason sat quietly. He heard none of it. But soon, he would have to decide. Would he walk away again? Or step back into the ring? Jason finished drinking his glass of juice. He put some money on the table and stood up. He pulled his hood over his head and stepped outside. The night was cold and quiet. Jason could feel something different in the air, like a storm was coming. The city felt strange, like it was holding its breath. Jason didn't want to fight again. He didn't need another fight. But a younger boy named Jet wouldn't leave him alone. Jet kept picking on him, wanting another match. And Jason knew something inside. This wouldn't stop unless he stopped Jet for good. If Jason didn't show everyone that Jet was wrong, the boy would keep causing trouble. And maybe, other people would get hurt too. As Jason turned the corner into a dark, quiet street, he whispered to himself like a little prayer, "Okay then, kid. You want a big fight? I'll give you a fight you'll never forget." In the days before the big fight, everything felt like a big mess. No matter where Jason went, people looked at him. They whispered and pointed fingers. News trucks parked outside his small house. Flying camera drones buzzed above like bees. TV people wanted to talk to him. Everyone wanted to see the match between Jason, who used to be in action movies, and the young, loud boxer named Jet. Jason didn't like any of it. He never wanted to be famous. He thought fame was like a bad smell that just won't go away. Jason only wanted to live quietly and in peace. But Jet had pulled him back into the spotlight like a bug flying into a bright light. Jet, though, was having fun. He loved the cameras. He laughed on talk shows. He made videos every day from his gym, showing off his bruises like trophies. In one video that lots of people watched, Jet looked at the camera and said, "Last time he got lucky. That old man Jason only has one good punch left, and he already used it." Jason didn't watch the video. He already knew what Jet was trying to do. Jet wanted to make Jason angry, to get him upset so he would make a mistake. It was a silly trick, and Jason had seen smarter people try it and fail. But Jason wasn't going to take it easy. He knew better than to show up to a fight without being ready. So, he started training again. He didn't tell anyone. No cameras. No fancy gym. No cool trainers. Just a quiet, old warehouse with broken windows, some heavy bags, and an old coach named Frankie who owed Jason a favor. Frankie was tough. He didn't treat Jason like a movie star. He didn't treat him like a friend either. Frankie yelled at him a lot. He made Jason run and run until his chest hurt. He made him hit and punch until Jason's hands were sore and red. But Jason didn't complain. He took every hit and bruise and ache. Jason knew something important. Pain is what makes you strong. And he was going to be very strong. He was going to fight smart and hard. One night, after a long day of training, Jason sat on the warehouse steps. His clothes were wet with sweat. He looked out at the city. It was quiet and dark. Frankie came outside. His hands were shaking as he lit a cigarette. He took a puff and then said, "Are you really sure about this, Jace? This fight isn't just some little match in the street. It's going to be a big show. There'll be cameras and betting and lots of loud people." Jason wiped the sweat off his face and said, "Let them watch. I'm not here to play games." Frankie gave a small, nervous laugh. "Yeah, that's what I'm worried about." But while Jason was training hard and quiet, Jet was busy planning tricks. Jet's manager, Silas, was a sneaky man. He made sure everything in the fight would help Jet. The gloves would be special, lighter than normal ones, so Jet's punches would hurt more. The referee was Silas's friend and would ignore it if Jet cheated. Even the ring would be different. The floor under Jet's side would be bouncier so he could jump and hit better. Jet didn't just want to win. He wanted to embarrass Jason in front of everyone. The day of the fight came fast. The arena was full of noisy people. Everyone was shouting and cheering. Some people were even betting money on who would win. The smell of hot dogs and popcorn filled the air. The place was wild. In the locker room, Jason was getting ready. He slowly wrapped his hands in cloth, the way he had done many times before. Frankie helped him and taped the last layer tightly. "You ready to break his heart, lad?" Frankie asked, with a little smile. Jason cracked his knuckles and said, "I'm ready to show him why you don't make fun of the sport." Jet walked to the ring wearing a gold robe. There were fireworks behind him. Loud rap music played. Some people cheered. Some booed. Jet loved it all. He waved and smiled like a king. Jason's walk was very different. There was no music. No lights. No noise. Just the sound of his boots on the floor. When he walked in, people got quiet. He climbed into the ring, looked straight at Jet, and stood still like a statue. The announcer shouted about the biggest fight of the year. The referee called them to the middle. "You both know the rules," the ref said. But he looked at Jet more than Jason. "Keep it clean. Touch gloves." Jet didn't tap Jason's glove. He shoved it into his chest instead. Jason didn't move. He just stared at Jet with cold eyes and walked back to his corner. The bell rang. For a tiny second, the whole world was quiet. No one moved. No one made a sound. Then Jet ran out of his corner like a wild animal. He threw big punches, fast and hard. But they weren't smart punches. They were wild and messy. He was angry. He was trying to scare Jason. Jason stayed calm. He moved out of the way. He didn't waste energy. He ducked and weaved and watched Jet closely. He was reading every move. The crowd was on its feet, shouting and flashing cameras. Everyone was excited. Jason wasn't here to just win. He was here to teach Jet a lesson. A bully like Jet needed to be taught the hard way, not with one lucky punch, but slowly, piece by piece, so he never forgot. Jet tried a big swing with all his strength. But Jason stepped to the side and bam! Hit him right on the nose with a quick punch. Jet's head flew back. Blood came out of his nose. It was a strong, clean hit. Jet stumbled, but he didn't fall. He wiped his face and spit on the floor. "Come on, old man." Jet yelled. He was trying to sound tough, but he was scared inside. "Fight me." Jason didn't say anything. His silence was louder than any words. They moved around each other. Jet pretended to punch, trying to trick Jason. But Jason had already figured him out. Jet was all muscle and no brain. He wasn't thinking. He was just trying to hit hard. And Jason wasn't scared. He wasn't angry. He was focused. This was no game. This was a lesson. And Jet was about to learn it the hard way. Jason walked into the ring. Jet tried to hit him fast, but Jason ducked. Jason punched Jet hard in the side. Crack. It sounded like a stick breaking in the woods. Jet made a loud sound. He took a step back. The people watching yelled and clapped. Some shouted, "Come on, Jet. Be smart." Others just wanted someone to fall down. Then, in the third minute, Jet started to get scared. He put his hands low and made a silly face, like he was making fun of Jason. But it was a trick. Jet jumped at Jason and grabbed his neck. He tried to pull him to the ground. The referee saw it but didn't stop it, just like Silas had told him not to. Jason didn't like that. He pushed Jet off with a sharp elbow. It was quick, and the referee didn't notice. Jet looked dizzy. Jason moved closer. Bam. A left jab. Pow. A right hook. Wham. An uppercut. Each punch hit hard, like a hammer. Jet kept stepping back. He looked like he was falling apart. Suddenly, Jet did something bad. He poked Jason in the eye with his thumb. Jason jumped back. He blinked fast. He couldn't see well. The people watching booed loudly. Even the cameras saw what Jet did. Frankie, Jason's coach, shouted from the corner. "Ref, are you blind?" he yelled. The referee looked scared. The crowd was angry now. So the referee told Jet not to do it again. But he didn't take away any points. Another unfair trick from Silas. Jason took a deep breath. He blinked until he could see again. He looked straight at Jet. No more playing, he thought. No more waiting. Jet threw a big, wild punch. But Jason was ready. He grabbed Jet's arm while it was in the air. He twisted it and boom, punched Jet right in the ribs. It was an old move, something fighters on the street use. Even a bad referee couldn't ignore that one. Jet screamed and held his ribs. Jason didn't stop. He kept punching. Every punch meant something. This is for making fun of old fighters. This is for thinking respect is silly. This is for every kid who thought being rude made them strong. Then came the final moment. Jason moved like he was going to jab. Jet lifted his chin. That's what Jason wanted. Jason swung his fist as hard as he could. Wham! Right across Jet's jaw. Time felt slow. Jet's eyes rolled back. He fell to the floor. Face first. He didn't get back up. The crowd screamed. Some were amazed. Some were shocked. Jason stood over Jet, breathing hard. His fists were still up, just in case Jet tried to stand. But Jet didn't move. Not this time. The referee ran in. He waved his arms. The doctors rushed in. Silas was shouting, but no one cared. Jason stepped back. He looked at all the people, all the flashing lights. He felt nothing, just cold and calm. The job was done. No yelling, no jumping, no loud "I win." Jason walked back to his corner. Frankie was there. He had a small, tired smile. "Wow," Frankie said. "You broke him, mate. You really broke him." Jason wiped blood off his gloves. He gave a little laugh, but it wasn't happy. "He broke himself," Jason said. "I just showed him the mirror." After the fight, the world went crazy. Videos of Jet lying on the ground were all over the internet. News shows played the fight over and over again. They showed slow-motion clips and expert talk. Suddenly, everyone was talking about Jason. He wasn't just a movie star anymore. He was the man who beat the unstoppable Rage. But Jason didn't care. Reporters camped outside his house. People begged him to come on TV. Promoters wanted him to do more fights. But Jason said nothing. No interviews. No big shows. He just disappeared. While Jason was gone, Jet's life got worse. He spent 2 days in the hospital. His jaw was cracked. 3 ribs were broken. When he got out of the hospital, bad news kept coming. His sponsors left him. His fans on social media started making fun of him. Some people felt bad for him, but most just laughed. Then something really bad happened. A video came out. It showed Jet and Silas talking before the fight. They were planning to cheat. They switched Jet's gloves. They told the referee to ignore Jason's good hits. Now everyone saw Jet as a fake fighter. They didn't love him anymore. They turned their backs fast. Jet tried to make a video. He said Jason cheated too. But nobody believed him. He had lost his truth. By the end of the week, Jet said he was taking a break from boxing. But really, no one wanted him to fight again. No one wanted to work with him. He went from being a champion to being a warning. Don't be like Jet, people said. And Jason? He was far away now. He sat on a balcony by the ocean. Waves crashed against the rocks. The sun was setting. The sky looked orange and purple. Frankie had found this quiet place for him. A secret place where there were no cameras, no noise. Frankie walked over, holding 2 cold drinks. He sat down with a groan and gave Jason one. "Cheers, mate," Frankie said, clinking bottles. Jason gave a small smile and took a sip. After a long time, Frankie spoke again. "Do you ever think about what comes next? You could make a lot of money. People want to see you fight again." Jason shook his head slowly. "I'm done fighting for crowds," he said. "If I fight again, it'll be for something that matters." Frankie laughed. "You've always been stubborn, haven't you?" They sat quietly. They watched the sun go down. The sky got darker and the stars came out. Later that night, Jason picked up his phone. He hadn't looked at it in days. There were hundreds of messages. But one stood out. It was from an old trainer. The one Jet had made fun of long ago. The one who had believed in Jason when no one else did. The message said, "You didn't just fight for me. You fought for everyone who ever got stepped on. Thank you, kid." Jason looked at the words for a long time. Then he turned off his phone. He put it face down on the table. He leaned back in his chair. In the distance, the waves kept rolling in. The night was quiet. And for the first time in a long time, Jason felt at peace. Did you enjoy the story? I'd love to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you had fun, make sure to subscribe and tap the bell so you never miss the next adventure. Thanks for being here, and as always, stay curious, stay bold, and keep exploring.